And hello everybody. Sorry for the little bit of delay. And I see Nico and Unfinished have already been here this morning, or for for you guys. I think, let me see if I can remember. Oh, Nico, I can't quite remember where you, was it Turkey maybe? I can't remember. But how about we say good day? Let me check something. All right, I got everything closed. I think the color's medium. All right, and that's all right. So to remind everybody, we're going to be using our sample data today, and we're going to be looking at the top 5 albums from the top 5 artists. So we're going to look at, this is one of those examples. Do we want to look at unit total sales, or do we just want to look at total units? So that is that's one of those questions. So we're just going to decide, we're just going to make a decision, and we're going to go with thank you. And there we go. And Nico is on it. Completely forgot. Thank you very much, Nico. This is a group effort. I need to make a checklist apparently, because I have a horrible memory. Can't spell. Can't remember. I used to tell my kids, I said, that's y'all's job, is to remember everything. Okay. So top 5 artists and their top 5 albums. So we have, ooh, my OBS just went red. Did it drop anything? All right. Okay. So we have a lot of work to do. Reconnect to database. All right. So if you have OBS, okay, I will have to look at that, Nico. But all right, this is going to happen a lot in Dbeaver. So if you're going to be, and you're going to lose connection, when you come back up here, you go to database, and I always used, connect was, I guess since it's local, you didn't have to. But if you were on a network connection, you would go invalidate and then reconnect, and that would get everything, and it would reconnect to all your tables. Just FYI for users who are doing this. So we need invoice lines because we need to know what albums sold the most. So we need to start there. And so invoice line, well, I don't know exactly where we need to start. So we're just going to start and we're going to go from there. So select star from invoice line. Now, the way that I like to, let me see if we can export this as a CSV, because I'm going to show you guys single query. Okay. Okay. And where's this going to go? Let's see. I went to a weird place that I was not expecting. It said it went where? Users, oh, okay. Let me go back here. Invoice line. So we're going to bring up some Excel. When I first started learning this, and sometimes I still do this, so let's shrink this down to make sure you can see this. All right, can we see this right here? Okay, fantastic. Whoa, okay. I'm trying to figure out why. Alright. The YouTube studio just acted really weird. Okay, everything's still showing that it's live. It was stuck on the banner screen, and it just did it again. I have no idea why it's doing this. I do not like scheduled streams. Alright. So basically, let's do this. The way that I like to do this is, let's come over here and do sort. Do filter. No, we're going to do filter on all of them. So if you start to do data analysis, you're going to get really good at SQL. Because, let's see how many tracks there are. There are a ton of tracks. And invoice ID for 12. And then there's quantities of 1. And then you remember how I did the min and the max the other day? So the way that I like to do this is if I were to group these and I would compress, let's sort by track ID. Actually, let's just do 1. So track ID, there's just 1, and let's do 2. Let's look at 2. All right, so if I were to group these and compress these, I like to explain this like an accordion file folder. You open it up. So if I were to do 1 and 2, when I compress these, I'm going to count track ID 1 occurred 1 time, and track ID 2 occurs twice. So let's do that with some SQL. Now we're going to look in here. All right. So let's do where track ID is less than 3. So let's run this. Okay, so now we just filtered for this, and now we just filtered for this in our, so now let's group these by. Now, if you're going to group by or compress, you have got to use group and aggregate functions go together. All right. Nico, are you here? Is the stream going okay? Because the information that I have on my little viewer, it keeps dropping out from a live image to the banner image. And I just kind of want to double check. All right. Oh, here you are. Stream glitched out a bit for a second. It said it was waiting to start. Yes, is that still doing that? Because everything that I see Okay, great. Thank you very much. All right. Unfinished, you here today? Because you were here earlier when I was when I was supposed to start. All right. Okay. So now, if I were to compress these, so the more information you have, the more columns you have, the more it's going to break out. So I'll show you this. Count quantity. So now if I were to run this, I get 3. All right. Let's go back, because this can get really weird and very odd to try to see. Let's go back and run this. So now if I were to do quantity and track ID, this would then break out and I'd get 2 rows of data. All right, let's go back. I want this and track. Why isn't track ID pulling up? Interesting. So now I have an aggregate function and a non-aggregate function. So I need to group by the non-aggregate function. And it's just going to be my first. Oh, it doesn't like it. Oh, okay. This version of Dbeaver doesn't like that. Interesting. Now, so I said this was going to do 2. Now, if I come back and was this invoice line? This is invoice line. Now, if I were to add invoice ID, and watch out, watch what happens. Let's come back up here, invoice line ID, add this. So now I have 3 columns, and I have 2 non-aggregate function columns. So I need to do 1 and 2. And now, the more information, the more non-compressed, non-similar I get all of my rows of data. But right now I don't care about invoice line, so I'm not going to include this. I need to know, I want to know the I don't know, Nico. I'll have to think about it. We can talk. Maybe you can DM me, and we can think about it. Okay. You have to send me what you want the bot to do, and we'll have to think about it. Because I got Jan and Cardinal. They help me out a lot doing that type stuff on Discord. So I'll have to run it by them. Okay. So right now, I don't care about invoice line. Well, let's just like I said, you can message me. And it needs to serve a purpose. So if you see a gap in the server that we need to do something, then we can talk about it. All right. Okay. So now we need to okay. Like I said, DM me with an idea that you have, and then we can talk about it. All right, so let's go back. We have this right here. So now that this is working the way that I was expecting, I can undo. I can get rid of our filter because it is exactly working the way that I'm expecting it to. Now, I have the album ID, or I have the track ID. Now I need to bring in track to know, do we need any other information from here? So we have unit cost, unit price. Right now, units sold, so quantity. Then the price, then the track ID. And the track ID, we're going to link, and then we're going to get our album ID. And track ID is over here. So we need to get this going. So we can find out right now, order by, let's alias this by quantity. Okay, and order by 2. Run, and we want descending. Don't forget, it automatically defaults to ascending. So you technically don't have to type ascending. You just have to type descending, because that will be, and you can do multiple steps here. You can, if I were to want to see, you could have order by this column this way, the next column the other way, and so on and so forth. And just comma, 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 comma. Okay. So interesting. This only has the largest song sold is just a quantity of 2. So now we need to see which albums those are associated with. And so now we have the track ID, so we're going to bring in track. So we're going to join, let's see, was that Nico? Alright, actually, let me post hello at everyone. I'm streaming now. Yep. Does that annoy everybody that when you go to send a message to everybody, it says, hey, you're about to send this to everyone? Yes, I know. I typed at everyone. That annoys me. All right. So let's see where we are. And the stream is, let's see, let me look at OBS. Is it a green? It's still green. The stream is still green. So everything is still showing that it's good. All right. So if you're just joining us right now, what we're doing is we are looking at, we're using Dbeaver, and so we're using some SQL, and we're going to go in and we're going to find the top. We're using their sample data for some invoices, some invoice lines, the actual what units got written, the album, the artist, and all of the sample data. Let's see, do I have this centered so you can see? Okay. So here's the database, and then here are all the tables in this database. So if you're new to SQL and anything having to do with databases, I know I embarrassed myself when I was starting my previous job, and I kept calling it the database, and my partner was like, which table? And I'm like, well, the database. And he's like, all right, dude, we need to talk about this. This is the database, and these are all the tables inside this database. And I was like, holy God. Okay, so I embarrassed myself a little bit, because if we were to come up here and out of an entire list of databases, you would do a dot notation where you would call let's say it was called the sample database, and it was this table inside that database, and then maybe if it was even larger, you would call the project, the database, and then the table. Just something to think about. All right. I think Nico's sending me some stuff. 3D workspace in Python. All right. I will take that. I will think about that, and we can look at that. Let's see. Let's come back over here. All right. So we have our list of the tracks. We've joined. Excuse me. We've grouped by, and we know now all the tracks. We have all the tracks, a distinct list of tracks that are sold, and the quantity in which they have been sold. So now what we need to do is this is from the invoice line, and now we need to join it on track to see, to go and find out the album, to then go to the album table to find out who the artist is. But we also want to live in here because we want the top 5 albums for the top 5 artists. So, all right. So there we go. If they have 5, because I picked that because for a constraint, because you're going to have to think about something. All right, so give you an idea of what I'm looking at right here is my YouTube says that I've been streaming for 20 minutes, but the length of my recording is 3 minutes and 57 seconds. So I am really, really confused. And see, it just looks like it dropped off, but it says that I'm streaming. So if anything is not working, please somebody let me know. Nico, let me know. And we'll go from there. So we need to join. It says it's 9 minutes. Interesting. Are you live? Because right now, my OBS says that I've been streaming for 22 minutes. My studio in YouTube says that I've been streaming for 21 minutes and 26 seconds, 27, 28. Okay. Okay. It is what it is. We'll go from there. And let me close that notification. The only problem with leaving that open is when I do get other notifications or alerts. All right, I need to join. We need to join the track on. So where do we want to join this? Track ID and track ID. Fantastic. On IL, track ID equals T dot track ID. Ambiguous. So I know I went over this the other day. The ambiguity of this is saying $19.30. Okay, thank you so much. That's good information. All right. Is it Curie? I probably mutilated your name, so I apologize. But thanks for joining us today. We are doing some SQL with some Dbeaver sample data. All right, so let's highlight this and see if we can get this to run. All right, so this did not throw up, and it worked. So now we need to add. So I need to add the track ID and then the name. So do we care about the name? No. I wanted albums. So I needed to get the album ID in here. So now let's bring in comma album ID. Let's see now. So I just added a row here. So I need to add a group by here. Okay. So I've now got the album ID, the track ID, and if we can look, something just dropped. And now earlier, yesterday, we noticed that when we did our distinct artist, we had a discrepancy between the datas. So when you start to validate and going back and forth, it's just like a math problem where I go, okay, I'm going to do this side of I'm going to do the math problem forward and I'm going to do the math problem backwards. So when I begin to check this in a variety of ways, it should work in both directions. Hang on. Okay. Sorry, I need to send this text really fast before I forget. And it is showing that YouTube did send out an email, but it sent an email to me. That is so weird. All right, so let's go back here. So now I need the album. So I've grouped by, and order by 3. Because if you look, this is the only downfall of using integers is when you add columns, you need to adjust this. So take that under advisement, rerun this. Aha. So here we go. And our test data still works. So now, okay, hang on. So we have group by 1 and 2, but if we look, we're also, so we don't really care about this. So this is where, let's think about this very slowly. I want to sum, so let's bring back in a where. So now I want to look at the album. And we're ordering by, let's do a where, and let's look at album 1 and 2, where album ID is less than 3. Let's look and see what this does. Okay. So now I'm grouping by track ID because I'm saying I'm grouping by track ID, but do I really care about track ID? No, I want album. So I want to compress all of these. So I'm literally going to drop track ID. So I'm back here. And I go to 1. So let's make sure, actually, before I do this, I'm breaking a cardinal sin. This is my sample data. Paste this. So we know this works, right? So we're sitting here and we're going to test this. So I was about to break all kinds of rules. All right. So I should get quantity 2 for album 2 and quantity 1, 2 for, what is this? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So now let's, and order ID by, let's just change this to quantity so we're not doing this all the time. And let's run this. Bingo. So now this is working. And so, and again, since this is working, I can turn this off. Does everybody understand the validation and the steps that I'm going through right here? Okay, so now we have these albums right here. Now I could use this reference, but your business partner, they're not going to want to go and then look up the album ID. So we need to bring in album. So now I also, so let's see, and bring in album, join album on, what was it, track album ID equals a album ID. All right. And because really, all I want in an album, what do they call it? They call it title. So we're going to change this to title. Group by 1 quantity. So basically what I did is I brought in more information, album ID, and I'm converting in those small little changes. I'm going to be changing this column from album ID to album that quickly. And again, let's go back. A dot album ID. Let's add it. Let's bring it here. and then what did we say, title, then run. Boom. That's simple, that quick, that easy. With this little bit of information, we were able to take a number, convert it into a title. So right now, this is what's so powerful about SQL. And one thing that you can also really begin to wrap your head around, it took me forever. You can filter for something that's in this table right here, and you don't actually have to call it. That's what blew me away. I was like, wait a minute, I don't have to bring in the column to be able to filter by it. And no, I used to, when I was first doing this, I would bring it in, filter it, and then in a subquery, remove it. And my boss was like, you know, you don't have to do that. I was like, I now know I don't have to do that. So now here are some top albums, because these are the tracks sold, and this is misleading. This is very misleading. Songs per album, that's not accurate. Songs from album, songs from quantity, there we go. And we're going to change this so we don't confuse anybody. Album title, quantity sold from album. So this is where practicing variable names and what do you have, because the better, near on. What did I just change? Because this just worked. Track ID. There we go. All right. Let's see. As oh, hang on. Let's see. Does that work? Okay, as album name, songs sold from album, quantity sold. We're going to change this. We're going to do quantity, cut, quantity sold from album. All right, let's see if this works. All right, there we go. So I now, this is a better description, and we're gonna do, oh, and now we've changed this, and run. All right, so here are how many tracks have been sold from this album, and so on. So now what we need to do is we need to find the artist. So in album, we had our album ID and our artist ID. So now we need to bring in artist, join artist on a dot artist ID equals a2 dot artist ID, and we're going to come up here and name, title, as group name, and let's see, we're grouping by, so we just added a second non-aggregate. So if you're just joining us, what is happening is we're working with some SQL of some sample data. And in SQL, there are aggregate functions. And when you do these are the columns that I'm outputting. So I just added one, but I have one aggregate function here, count. And what is happening is I just added a second one, so I need to group by. Every time you have an aggregate function, you also have to have a group by, because it needs to know how you want to group it. So oops, not 12 and 2. All right, so now let's run this. And column name ambiguous. Does anybody who's just joined know what in the world that means? I do this often whenever I add a new column, but I'm just curious if anybody has seen it enough. So album and artist. So somewhere I have name is being used in more than one table. So I need to tell SQL, hey Jan, how are you? Thanks for joining us. Hope all is well. We're working on some sample data out of the Dbeaver application, and we're just going through some ambiguity errors right now. How's this stream look to you? Because the software is acting weird for YouTube. I'm getting some very misinformation, mixed information. So I want this to come from our artist table. So this is going to need this to be A2 and name. And I hate it when it does that. All right. So I'm going to grab all these and I'm going to run this again. So now here we go. So I have all of these right here. Now, this is where it's going to get very interesting. These are the total songs, but I also need to know which group has the most tracks sold. So I need to do another one. Oh, awesome. Thank you, Jan. You're awesome as always. And I want to tell you thank you for everything that you do with helping on the channel and helping on the Discord. I haven't gotten to tell you thank you in a while, so I really appreciate it. You helped me out quite a bit. Let's see. So I need to know collectively how many, because right here, this is the subtlety, and this is the cool part of how SQL is a little bit different, but it's still problem solving. So if we look at this, so I need to do this in 2 different layers because I need to group these by, so now I need to, you're awesome, thank you. So now I need to group this by in a subquery to find out how in the world to get the total groups, because, and then now I'm going to use a different aggregate function. So check this out. So now let me make sure this is all fitting. We don't need this, so let's drag this down just a little bit, and I'm gonna drag this up. We're gonna lose a little all right, so now we're gonna use a different aggregate function, and we're gonna wrap this up. This is where this, now if you didn't see this yesterday, we talked about a results query and a results table and a table. This just output a table here. It's got 3 columns and it's got some numbers and some strings. So this is still a table, and that's what took me forever to wrap my head around this. So I come down here. So this syntax is still, and I can't remember if Dbeaver wants me to alias this. So as sub. So I'm naming this as so select star from all of this. So when I run this, I get the exact same results. But now I need to know which groups, artists, sold the most songs. Because right here, I am down to the track record. And you could do this a variety of ways. I could have done this one way and then come back. But we were going through this, and we were doing all of it. Sorry, I don't have my watch on. I think I'm getting a text. All right. Yep. Can't sneak and look at my watch. Okay. So we got the same results. So now I want to sum the songs, quantity from album, quantity sold from album, and then this album, and then I need to know the group. So I'm going to do group name, and then I'm going to sum quantity sold from album. And if I need to go over this, if I need to go over this slower, no problem. And just a reminder, I have an aggregate function. So if I have non-aggregate functions, I need a group by. Group by and aggregate functions go hand in hand. You can't. Well, here, let's just do it without it. Let's see what happens. I'm going to get told. And it grouped everything by the first one. That should have thrown an error. So, all right, group by 1. Run this. So here, and we need to go order by, because we need to find order by 1. No, order by 2, and we need to top albums. What are we calling this? Total sales. Total sales as total sales. Total songs sold. Total songs. Total sales. We'll just do total sales here. And order by. And don't forget, descending is a non-default. So you don't have, if you type ascending, you can, but that's redundant because it defaults to ascending. And order by. Now Y is okay. Here we go. Now check this out. We're going to bring this up here just a little bit. We're going to change. We're going to go limit 5 because we want the top 5 artists or groups. So now, let me make sure you guys can see this. So here we are. Bring this up just here. Now we need to use this again to filter because this is the only data we want to have here to find our top albums. This is going to get really weird really, really fast. But this is just another way to skin the cat. Because you could have a scenario where somebody sells the most album, but they don't have the most. So we're not looking. What do I want to say? Let's call it like a one-hit wonder. So they could sell 100 of one song. Well, no, here we go. I digress. It could be they could have one album that sells 44 songs, but it would order this wrong because we want the top 5. And how about we say like Iron Maiden only has, so on average I have what, 140 divided by 5, so 30, 20, it's like 25, 28, what is that? I still haven't changed my mouse. 140 divided by 5, 28. So on average, they're selling 28 songs per album. But we don't know that. but we're going to build this out, and we need to make a decision because you could do this a variety of ways. So let's see. So I want this to be, and now I need to know what these albums were that sold this 140. So now that this is going to be an interesting thing. So just like when we were doing the nth prime number yesterday or the day before, I may have to go silent to try to think about this, because the more complex it is, I can't talk, but I can listen. So I don't know. So we may have a little bit of quiet here, and I don't know how dangerous that's going to be for the stream, but we will see. So if you are just joining us, what we're doing is we're going through some sample data inside of Dbeaver, and it is some hypothetical. I doubt any of these are realistic, because we found yesterday that some data just stopped being input. So we need to find right now, we have found the top 5 groups because they have the top sales of songs, the number of songs sold. So now I want to know what these albums are. So we need to go back. We need to go back a layer, and we're going to use this as our subquery to filter. So right now we've used joins to bring in extra data. In this example, what we're going to do is we're going to use joins to remove data, because a standard join is a inner join. Does everybody know what an inner join is? It's a Venn diagram. Let's see if we can pull one up. Inner, and it always inner join SQL. Let's see. Image. Let's see. No. That's not what I want to do. Here's all the joins. Do I have snippet open? Where'd it go? All right. All right, let's bring this over here. I think this fits. Let's look. Is that fitting? All right. So here are the joins. So here's the standard join right here. So inner join, this is redundant. So you don't have to say it, because it is, like I said, it is redundant. So it's only going to talk about the things that are in both of them. So like when we went back and we looked at that artist sample data, and then we looked at album or track data, and we saw that we didn't have the exact same numbers because we lost some of the artists in our artist table, because there was no album data. So it didn't have that, and we could have handled that with this way, but we would have had a bunch of null data. And I don't want to look at that quite right now. And then now here's a you can do this a variety of ways. I like not in, and you're able to do a variety of things. But there are times and places for all of this, but don't get hung up on these. Just think about the problem. Think about how you want to solve this with human brain before you go and you try to do SQL brain. So, all right. Let's see. Any questions right now? Jan, is there anything that I've missed? Anything that I've gone too quickly? All right. How orange am I? I need to hang. I have some drapes here, curtains, drapes, and I haven't hung them, and I'm annoying myself by not doing that. All right. Okay. So now I need to know what our top albums are, what these top albums are. So we need to figure this out. So what would be the next step? So I have, let's see if we can narrow this down just a little bit and clean this up. I don't think we can, because we need every single thing in here. Sorry. We could technically skip. No, we can't skip album because we need album to get to here. Because we need the track data to get the album data to get the artist data. So yeah, we're going to be doing a lot of this thinking out loud, so please bear with me. All right. So we need this, and then we're going to join. And do I still have album? Let's see. Album ID. Oh. Am I going to break this out? Hang on. Because this is where... Aha. So if I were to add this is example of bad data. So right here, let's see, can I copy this? Yes. All right. So we're going to put this here, and we're going to comment this out. I like that. I didn't think we could do that. I tried to do that on my work computer, and it was like, no, you can't do that. So I can keep this here, and we're going to see what happens. Why can't I type? It's like I'm trying to drive while looking at my feet. All right, so we're going to bring in album title, album name, and we're going to see what happens. See how this changes everything? Order by 3. So, all right. Did this change anybody? But see, this could. So this is not... This is what I want to draw to. I was hoping that it could throw off the data. This is not how you want to do this. I'm going to show you a better way, because when you get into very large issues, and you could have, so let's see, we had, and let's change this to, so we want the top 5 of the top 5. So we want 5 times 5 is 20. So let's see what happens. And see, this is why this will not work, because I want you to see. So here are our top 5 groups. And now we have new people. So this is why this technique of just saying, oh, well, I can just add the album name and I will get all of the... So here's a perfect example. So Iron Maiden. So they have one album. So they're only going to have one album. Okay. So we need to utilize this, and we're going to utilize this output as our filter, and you're going to like this a lot. This is going to be very, very cool, because we're going to utilize some really new keywords in SQL and using a subquery. Okay. Let's go back. So I did that to prove the point that this is not the way to do this. And we should come back here. And this just threw back up. And let's see. Oh. Change that. La, 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 la. Bingo. All right. So here we are. Iron Maiden, U2, Metallica, Led Zeppelin. I don't think I've ever heard that. I do not know that group at all. All right, so here we are. Let's see what time it is. We've been here for 50 so minutes, 57 minutes. That's what OBS says. I think the stream shows 56. Yep. I'm at least getting in the habit of doing that, but I did start late. All right. Okay. So now I need to try. Let's think out loud. Think through this. So I need to get the albums associated with these. Hey, Alex. That sounds Brazilian? Okay. Interesting. I do not know Portuguese. My jiu-jitsu instructor, he speaks Portuguese, Spanish, Italian, French, and English. And I'm like, I can barely speak English because everybody who walks in the door, he can pretty much have a conversation with. And we do have a lot of individuals who come up from Brazil. It's very cool. One of our awesome students had to go back because he was up here teaching engineering for a while, and then he had to go home. So it was sad to go. He taught me a lot. He was very cool. We always joked that he was Brazilian doing American Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Nico, I'm sorry, English or Spanish? Elaborate. All right, so we're going to use this, and we're going to turn this into a subquery. This is how queries turn into gargantuans. All right, so now we need to look at some. Interesting things here. So I guess I could have shortened this a little bit. I could do the count here and drop title, because I have a subquery. No, we're going to get this to work, and then maybe tomorrow we clean it up. All right. Sorry. So now, check this out. So we're going to subquery this now, and we're only going to get, so we need to make a decision. We could go down to group name or just use select. Let's do a from, and then group name, and we're going to see. All right, so I want you to look and see what I did. I usually try, it's funny, my brain is sitting here and it's trying to play a song, because whenever I'm problem solving like this, I usually have music going, but we cannot have music going while we're live streaming, or I'll get demonetized because of copyright strikes. But yeah, I could do classical music and I wouldn't get maybe, I don't know. Open domain, not eminent domain, public domain. That's what I'm trying to think of. So when I did this right here and I run this, and now I go out a layer, I'm dropping. So when you do SQL, you can drop a column. You can't add a column unless you're doing some sort of combinations of columns or concatenating or creating columns. I could come here and I could make a new column and take sum of quantity sold, total sales, multiply it by, I could take total sales, multiply it by, for taxes. And I could do, and then do a grand total and blah, 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 blah. But I can't I couldn't come here and just pull new data out. I can remove data by eliminating columns right here. So, okay. So right now, I have just these names. So now what I want to do is now I want to know these top albums. So now I'm filtering this. So check this out. This is where this gets so cool. Let's see. Sorry. I'm going to have to concentrate. So, I can't even hum the song. Okay. Sorry. All right. But we're going to utilize this. This is a great technique that you're going to want to get in the hang of. So I put this cursor here to find out the boundary of my inner. So I'm here and I'm going to run this. And I'm going to bring this out because this is going to turn into because since it's just going to be one, this is going to turn into a where. So I need to bring, what do I need? I need this subquery right here. Bingo. Because I need these top. So, all right, I'm going to get rid of this. Get rid of this. Let me double check. Run. All right. So this is where I need these albums. So check this out. You've seen me use the where clause, right? So this is completely legal. Watch what I'm doing. Group. Nope. Where? Yeah, group name. Why can't I type in? Now this is bananas where this gets crazy. Let's make sure I have enough commas. Excuse me, not commas, parentheses. And I do not. So if we look right here, these parentheses are here and here. I just used this one. So I'm using a where clause to filter these. I like this being here. So check this out. This is a way to check for multiple. So I could have, I'm making this dynamic. I could come here. Let's do this first, a long-handed way. Then I'm going to show you what I'm doing because you want to make things dynamic like this. And no. Boom and boom. Okay. So Iron Maiden, copy, make this a string, comma. Right now we're just going to do 2 of these. So what I'm doing, this is how you search for multiple. Oops. And I close this. So now I run this. Let's see, where is my, what's throwing up? Group name in where syntax. Oh, because this is in the wrong spot. I need to find order by, this needs to be in front of, whoa. This needs to be in front of the order by. And run. Okay. Let's see what is going on. Let's turn this off. All right. Does it need to be in front of the group by? I think it does. Sometimes I have to still look these things up. All right, now here we go. And if we look right here, here are the top 5 albums. And I'm doing how I did a where earlier. I did where the IDs were less than 3, I think. So we got 1 and 2. Now, this is, I'm filtering for these 2 group names, U2 and Iron Maiden. And this is how you do multiple. You do in, and then you pass in, if you want to do digits, integers. Now, or if it's just like Python, if it's a string, it has to live inside quotation marks. Oh, what am I about to copy? Okay. Now we're going to do this where I'm going to be changing this to this subquery because I don't know what is going to change. It could have a different date range. I could do all sorts of things. So now I'm going to get rid of, this is wrong. So now this is what I like to do. We're going to get rid of this. We're going to come here, and now we're going to paste these right here, and we're going to, it's going to be our, we may need to check our number of parentheses, but we're going to check this. So we have our stop, and right now we were missing one. So we're going to check this one. Yep, that's the last one. So I need, should be one here. Let's check this. Because this is my where clause, and then I'm able to do my group. Because to remind you, inside of this, is it that? Let's double check. Yep. Run this. Bingo. So I have my 5 right here. So my where is working perfectly. Bingo. And we can check. And where's our list of, we have Iron Maiden. Excuse me. Yeah, Iron Maiden, our possibly Brazilian group. Actually, I want to see who this is. I don't even know if I can. Alex is 100% correct. They originate from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil in 1977. So that is bingo. Alex, way to knock that out of the park. That's fantastic. All right. Let's go here. So now we have our top. Here's all of the albums. So now what we got to do, let's see, how long are we doing here? How long have we been on? Hour and 10. Okay. So we're kind of partially there. So we have our top 5 groups. Now we need to figure out a way to get our top 5 albums. So we need to, so we have this right here. So we need So we know these are, we don't have to group this, but we need to then order by group name, and then order by this. So this is, we need to add one here. And what do we call this? Is this group name? Group name, comma, let's see, let's rerun this. Alright, so Iron Maiden has, so they have a ton of albums, and then here are the sales. So now we need to figure out a way, and this is so cool. So I need to figure out a way to just get, because Iron Maiden has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, we don't have to, we can just come down here. Let's see, what is that? 21. Iron Maiden has 21 albums. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Led Zeppelin has 14. I did not think that was like the thing when I was growing up. There was a whole discussion that technically Led Zeppelin only had 4 albums. I guess these are, never heard of that. Yeah, Led Zeppelin 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's okay. That's educational to me. So now what we're going to do. All right. So we have to use, and I always have to cheat and look at this, but the way that my brain works, I know what, you want to know how to do it. Excuse me. You want to know the way you need to do it and what you want to do, and you can look up the syntax. So let's bring this up. Is there that much? Oh, whoa, check that out. U2 has all of that. Where's our, okay. Aha. See, this is what we're talking about. This is the group that had 44 songs, 45 songs, but they only have 3 albums. So if we would have done this any other way, we could have our data skewed. Skewed. It's a weird word. But to means have it offset. So we could be getting data, but we could be getting inaccurate data. So the way, the steps that I'm going about doing this is the preferred method. So we could clean up this subquery a little bit and make it, we could probably do this by about right here and then have just done this here, but we were building it out and showing. Now, what we need to do, this is one of the coolest functions that I saw. We're going to add a new column here, and we're going to count these. We're going to iterate. So right now, for Iron Maiden, these are the technically, we won't get into what happens if there's a tie. We could think about that tomorrow, because that would also be some, I could see a business partner going, well, if it's more than one, I want it concatenated and I want to know the names of all the albums that are tied. Well, that's when you have a case, it's the equivalent of a if in Python, and you do a case statement. So when this situation happens, you do this. But all right, I digress. We need to look at row numbers. So now that we have this right here, I don't know, because we're counting here, so we need to go out one more. So from here, and we go, whoopsie, all the way down. All right. So now we're back here. See how these get really, really large, really, really quickly, and I highly suggest just do star to make sure that it still works before you go and you start adjusting any of this. But what we're going to do is we're going to slap row numbers over here. And there's going to be some new keywords that you've not seen yet. SQL, and for. This has been a gripe of mine and my old team. There's so many variations of SQL. It is so annoying. Dbeaver, and they're just slightly so different. So SQL, Dbeaver, and we want to look up row number. All right, so all right, and I always forget the proper syntax, and we're going to number by, so let's just say we need to partition the way to break up. So we're going to break this up because you don't want to just go by Iron Maiden, because what happens, so we're going to do this very explicitly, and we're going to partition this over, because you could have a sense of, somebody could have a different album. So we're going to really be astute to that and explicit about this. Oh, ranking. That's another good one. That's if... Actually, we could technically use rank here. Now, we're going to stick with row number. We're going to do row number. All right. Let's see. Sorry, I'm on another screen reading. Has anybody dropped any comments? Tell me about it. Gonna have to acquire. Ooh, what is that? YAML? What is that? Ooh, Jan, what project? What upcoming project do you have? I'm interested. Okay, so yeah, like right here on this stream, it is saying that. Let me read this off. So in the corner it says live, 1 hour and 17 minutes and 45 seconds, and underneath the times it is saying 4 minutes and 19 seconds. So and it's going back. It is absolutely nuts. All right. It's a variant of SQL. Okay. Interesting, because there are a ton of variants. Because when I go and I practice something in Dbeaver, and then when I would go and try to use it in BigQuery, sometimes they wouldn't. It wouldn't work. All right. So partition and over row number. So we're going to bring in here. So this statement is completely legal right here. This is just like I was saying. You can. I want to add to this. So I'm going to have row number over partition. Partition by, and I want to group name, comma, album name. Let's see, as top 5. All right, let's see if I did that syntax right. No. Let's see. What am I missing? Row number over. Oh, hang on. Let's see. And I think, yep, I'm doing order by. Oh, okay. That is 100% wrong. And I'll go over what I just did. All right, so we do just want to break this out, because I want this to be counting. Because if I were to do, so what I was doing is, let me see. I know in my head, I know what I I know what I'm doing. Now I have to explain. Row numbering is a very interesting technique to use in SQL. So when you're doing this, what I wanted. So when I added album name, it's when you have duplicate. This technique is used when you have duplicate data, and you need to. There is either no way to differentiate between it, or you need to have another key to accompany something else, like a variation, a time variation, anything like this. So now that I have everything numbered, so Iron Maiden, and it'll start over when I get to a new group. Let's see. Oh, there's Iron Maiden. Then I get to Led Zeppelin, and it starts over. So now what I'm going to do, and our Brazilian group, they only have 3. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come and I'm going to, I don't believe, I always struggled with this. We're going to try it. I don't know if I can do this in the same query where top, because this is being calculated, I may need to go out a layer where top 5 is less than 6. Yep. So, and this is also called a window function. Never really understood why. So this is illegal because now there is one with having. Let's see if this works with having. Okay. That only works with an aggregate function. We'll look at that later. So let's go back to where. So now I need to go out a layer. So one more layer. I know this is dumb. I think I technically could have put this. Could I put that there? Again, we're going to be on the safe side. Star from comma, or not comma, parentheses, and now we're going to run this. And bingo. So now, let's bring this up here. So I should have, this is exactly perfect data. And the reason why I know without having to investigate is because I do not have, so it's top 5 albums of the top 5 artists. We do not have 25 because of our Portuguese group, our Brazilian group, sorry, not Portuguese, our Brazilian group, and they only had 3. So they're going to be 2 less. 2 less than 25 is 23. And if we look right here, then, and we could reorder this, and we could come up here and say then, well, we could break this out. But this is the way that you would approach a problem just like this. And this is a completely, I promise you, this is a completely real world issue where a business leader would come to you and say, I need to know this. And this is how you would begin to attack. And you would need to use all of these skills to go ahead and do something like that. All right, so we are at, let's see, where are we? Hour and 25 minutes. I will start thinking about, and then, this would be, here's a one-to-many. Here's a perfect example. We did this right at the end. We made this table, and it had the total sales. And let's just say I had, and I wanted to know, to make sure this is, what is that? Let's come over here. Let's do some simple math. And we're going to test and make sure that we have all of this right. So 11 plus 9 plus 9 plus 9 plus 8. So that's 46. So then Led Zeppelin, 10 plus 9 plus 9 plus 9 plus 8. 45. Okay, so that is, but now what happens if we wanted to get another column right here and we wanted to have all of, and now let's check Metallica. Ooh, Metallica may be, is Metallica maybe supposed to be first? Because technically, I think Metallica might be right, 56. So we would need to order this differently. Because it was, let's come up here and look at our, where's our old data? Well, wait a second. How is, okay, so we have some conflicting information here. Or this might be, this is a perfect example. All right. So this list is right. So this is why knowing your data is so valid. So if somebody were to come to you and be like, why is Metallica third and these albums total 56? Why isn't it first? Well, great question. You asked for the top 5 artists and then their top 5 albums. So, yes, Metallica's top 5 albums outsold Iron Maiden's top 5 albums, but Iron Maiden still outsold their total songs. Does that make sense? I know that was just a lot and we went round and round. So it probably wouldn't be a bad idea in this data set to have like a column here that said like total songs sold and have this output. Let's see if we have time to do this, because that is a perfect example of being prepared. The better you know your data, the more you're going to be prepared to answer these type questions. So we had already solved this first because we swam around in the data. We understood what it was going to look like. We understood these tables. You want to understand the tables better than anybody. So when you get asked questions, because some are going to be valid questions of curiosity, some are going to be questions to wanting to prove you wrong. Maybe to challenge you, to get you to make sure, because once you define a relationship with a business partner and they begin to trust you, those things fade away. But you want to be prepared. You want to be prepared for this because you want to be accurate. Man, being accurate is worth your weight in gold. And you want to do this all the time. When I was first starting and I would get questioned this, I would take it personally. I'd be like, "Oh my God, it's what do you mean?" If you can't prove it, it's not true. I mean, it's like a proof. It's like a proof in a math situation. And it puts your mind at ease too. So let's see. Well, Jan, changing gears? YAML. Let's look that up. YAML. That's not an L. Is a human readable data serialization language is commonly filed in applications. Oh my goodness. Okay, this is very cool. It's been around since 2001. It uses Python style, quotes around. It also supports JSON, strings, floats. Huh. I am constantly learning from you guys. I think it was Nico. He was telling me the other day all sorts of stuff that he's he's fluent with, and I had never heard of any of it. Date turns a picture into binary. Okay. Protocols. Holy moly. Well, you're gonna have to keep me up to date. Okay. I have no idea. Yeah, Nico, that's a really good question. This stream has been acting so weird and the live. So, yeah. Am I okay? Yeah, that I am. I may stop this stream and then we pick back up here tomorrow, and we have the total. So, if anybody has started to work with Dbeaver, I highly recommend you continuing it, because the SQL that you're going to learn from here and the problem solving and the general structure of how you want datas to look, because so right now you would then drop this. Let's see. So what I would then do is I would bring this back in, and I would have, so if I were to send this out to a business partner, I'd be on the fence. I'd ask them, do you want to see the numbers here? Because I mean, they can even count to 5. But tomorrow, what we're going to do, at least tomorrow, we may hang out here. We have a few more folks dropping in. For everybody who's just coming right now, what we're doing is we're finishing up some sample data inside of Dbeaver, where we're looking at the top 5 artists and their top 5 albums. And we covered a lot doing this. So we used a where clause. We used a subquery inside of a where clause. Now, here's a caveat. We did this with 1 column. If you were to do this with 2 columns, you would want to turn this into a join. And you would use this join as the filter. Because you can do 2 where clauses, but what would happen is you would then you would have to have these 2 entire subqueries in 2 sections of the where clause. So if we were to say that we needed both of these, you would turn this into a join. You would refer to this subquery, and then below the subquery you would do, let's key right here. You would go on group name and album name, but whatever the name of these. So here's a perfect example. We can go ahead and look at this now. So artist is name. So we would be group name to name, and we would use those 2 table references. And then album name, or album, we'd go on and on album name from this results table, album name, equal to album.title. So that would be a perfect example where you would finally have, because we've been spoiled here, where we're doing on one table dot track ID equals another table dot track ID. You are not going to be that fortunate in the real world. You may get this 1 out of 20 times, but you're going to have stuff more like this: group name to name, or the one that you're really going to have, and it's so much fun, is where in one table a number is a string, and then in another table the number is an int, and you're going to need to pay attention to exactly where it's going to be failing, and you're going to need to do a cast. We need to look at casting next time. Let me make a note somewhere. We need to do case let's see. We need to come here. We need to do case when. Case when. We need to do cast. Let's see. What else? We need to do a filter with join. Filter with join. And we need to defend. We need to defend and have. We need to add these total sales to this column. And this is going to be really cool because this is going to really mess with your head for a minute when you first see this, because this is going to be a one-to-many. Because this output, so we're going to literally reuse the original query again. Because if you remember, our here gets us this. So now we're going to use this again to add. Actually, we're almost here. So let's just go ahead and finish this. All right. So copy. All right. We need to figure out where to join another one. All right. Join. Let's see if this works. Let's check. No. Why isn't that working? Oh. Let's check where our subquery is. All right, cool. Now, and where, and then on. So we need to name this top 5 as top 5 and what do we gotta alias this too. And we're going to need to check and make sure. We're going to call this base. All right. Okay. Top 5 dot group name equals base dot group name. Like I said, I have no idea if this is going to work. We're just going to throw it against the wall and see what happens. All right. Now, if we look really, really close, we have some redundant data because we have this star. So we need to clean this up a little bit. But right here, we have what we want. So now we're going to do base dot, oh, this is so cool. So check this out. We'll go over what this is. And then total sales. And I'll go over how in the world the syntax on this is working. All right. And we need to reorder this. So you guys have seen star. So I have 2 subqueries here. I have my base subquery, which got us these 4 columns right here. Oops. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm adding this. So I don't want the group name again. I only want the total sales. So give me the entire base 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I just want total sales from the other table. And total sales is not ambiguous, and so SQL understands, hey, I'm just going to do all of that. So now we need to clean up this order by, because this order by is not good, and then we'll go ahead and be done for the day. All right, let's see. No orange or yellow. All right, we got some people dropping in. So quickly, real fast, what we're doing is we've taken our SQL data, our SQL sample data, and we've done a lot of filtering. What we've done is we've found the top 5 groups, we found their top 5 albums, and so now we need to order this a little bit better. So now order by, I want by that. Okay. So we're going to order by top sales. So 5, and that's, descending, and then I want top 5. Let's rerun this. Bingo. And this should match all of our data. So now when somebody comes here, they already have this data included. Oh, because the header. And let's make that fit. We can shrink this one down just a little bit. Name. Concatenate that because you're going to have that. And there, top 5. Bingo. So they can see, and I want you to look really, really close. So this was a one-to-many. So when I joined this is what took me forever to wrap my head around. Every time SQL saw Iron Maiden, because this table right here, let's come all the way up here. This was only 5 rows of data. But SQL understood that when I was joining this, every time because we were joining on Iron Maiden, we were joining on the group name. So every time it saw that group name, it added this column to that row. And I know that sounds weird, but just let that sit. So when you're joining multiple one-to-manys, every time this happens, it will place this data in that new column. Let me make sure I'm right here. Yep, there we go. So I'm back here again. So now I have, and I'm ordering it by 5 descending, largest to smallest, and then ordering it top 5 with row numbers. I'm keeping that there, 1, 2, 3, so they can see now we have our group artist, however, group or artist, I guess we could change the name of that column. And then there's subsequent albums with the sales, with the songs, number of songs sold per that album, and then they can come over here and look at their total songs sold for all of them. So that is a real world what a business partner of yours would ask for. And now you know the basis of how to do it. And you just go step by step, and you just methodically think through, and then you go from there. All right. We've had quite a few people come and go, in and out. Anybody have any questions before we drop today? And now I've got to come up with, we've got to look at case wins. That's just basically if it's SQL's version of if then, and then there's else. Then cast is converting strings and integers, And then filtering, in this example, if we would have needed to filter on 2 columns, we would use a join and not a where clause. And I'll try to come up with a good example. All right. Any questions before we drop for today? Jan, is there anything I may have missed or anything that I should address that, because I haven't seen? Nope. All right. Well, if there's nothing else, everyone, I hope everybody has a good rest of your day. I know those of you in other parts of the world, your day is winding down. So thank you for joining us at the end of your day. And those of us on the other side of the planet, I hope you have a nice, good day. But I will be signing off. Please make sure. Okay. Thank you, Jan. Hope everybody has a great day. Be safe. And just keep swimming. But I will make sure you like and subscribe. Awesome. Just make sure you hit the like button, subscribe button, and the notification bell. And I will see you all tomorrow. Bye, guys.